today you're here to find out why your terracotta tiles go white after you've cleaned them. Because when we've cleaned them, we don't really want them to go white, do we? We want them to be clean. So today I have the amazing Pierre, who's going to help us to figure out why this happens. Hi Pierre.
Hi Tracy, thank you for having me around.
You're more than welcome. I've had the girls, we have quite a few calls about this on a regular basis, about they've just had their terracotta tiles cleaned and there's white marks just coming straight back. So, what actually causes these white marks on the terracotta? Can you explain it to us?
Yeah, sure I can. I want to go back and tell you a little bit of history and how we got started with tile cleaning, just to give you a bit of context, like I usually try and do in these videos. So for those people watching, it also helps them understand it better. So if you're watching this video and you think, my terracotta tile has either been cleaned by myself or by a professional, and I see some marks on the tile, they look white or sometimes different colours, what can cause that? So let's start way back. Right, way back. I'm going to take you back on a journey, get in my time travel machine. Right, back in, we started the business Olive Clean back in 2005 or thereabouts, and I started cleaning. I actually, before that, cleaned windows, and then decided I'll sell the window cleaning business and focus all my attention on learning as much as I can on soft furnishings I started with, and then I moved into stone cleaning next. So I spent hours and hours studying and learning and attending training on cleaning stone tiles, stone floors, and then tiles. So there's a bit of a difference. So I learned a lot, and I tell you, there was many days when I thought to myself, why did I even start this? Why? I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to stop cleaning tiles. And the one tile that's always been the hardest has been terracotta. Terracotta tiles are probably one of the hardest tiles to get a good result on. So I've spent a lot of time learning, a lot of time speaking to people that's done it for years. So I found myself in a very tight spot sometimes cleaning these tiles and not being happy with the results, and asking myself, why, Pierre, why are you doing this? And then again, a week later, find myself on yet another job.
Another terracotta.
You just cannot say no because you're very keen to help. So over the years, we've gone through many things as how we do it. So we started at first, attended some training, and I learned about a certain type of sealer that's sitting at the top of the tile. It's called a topical seal. That to a certain degree helped me with solving some problems, but then I ran into other problems with tiles, with typically this problem where the white marks appear, or marks appear on the tile after you cleaned it. And then I moved into the more traditional way of sealing floors with tiled floors, terracotta floors, which is the linseed oil and wax finish. Though that process was so time consuming that the cost we had to pass on to the client for doing that just became unmanageable. So over the years we then eventually came to Tile Master, and we learned about a way in which we can clean and seal these tiles in a similar-ish way as what was done before with oil and wax. Although it still presents to this day a problem where marks appear on the tile. And that's the reason why. So that got us to where we are now, many years on, cleaning tiles, and sometimes you do see these marks, and this simply, as sad as it is, simply just not much you can do. But for those people watching, if you're watching this and thinking, I've got an imperfect tile, I've cleaned it, I've scrubbed it, I've done everything with it, I cannot get those marks out, I'm very keen and happy to have you here, because I can show you what would be possible and what would just not be possible.
That's handy, because that's what they really want to know. I mean, if it's not possible, then we'd rather be honest with them. Okay, so is it normal to see these white streaks just on terracotta tiles? I'm guessing it is.
You know, the thing is to understand what caused those marks in the first place, because in some cases those marks are there because of something that you can remove, and it has not been removed. In most cases, it is an old sealer that is still present on the tile, and what you want to do in that case is judging the tile for is there any sealer left. It's usually what we do is clean the floor, and when it dries you want to stand back and look at the floor, and it needs to be evenly matte. And also when you take a white cloth, a damp cloth, you wipe over the surface, it goes darker, but then as it dries it lines up again. So that's what helps a lot to understand, is that tile clean and nothing left on the surface. So that's the first thing, ingrained dirt and soil, so use a correct cleaner, and we find the Tile Master range to be very good for getting us the results we want, cleaning it. There's also some strippers available to remove all seals that's been applied.
Okay. So, I'm guessing we're going to have a show and tell today. Please tell me we've got a show and tell.
We do have a little bit.
Show and tells. Because I think you've answered. Well, the next question is how can we prevent these marks?
How can we prevent the mark? Preventing the mark in the first place is firstly to understand what is causing that mark. And if you have a terracotta floor and you're looking at this and you're thinking, I need to get my floor cleaned and I don't want any marks, let's head over there to my table and I can show you and the viewers some things to look at.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
We love looking
All right, let's see. Let's get over here. I've got a bit of a range that I want to show you today. Of course, at the background we've got the cleaners and sealers from Tilemaster, which I'm going to go through one by one. And then I've got two little samples here of tiles that I can show you. And I can then like to just quickly give a shout out to the lovely people over at Manderin Stone in Cambridge, because yesterday, Tracy, I went over and I asked them for a little sample tile to show this problem, and they were very kind enough to provide me with a sample. And if you are looking for stone and tiles, Mandarin Stone in Cambridge is a lovely place to go. There are some others as well that are also very lovely, and we'll mention them in another video, but in this case they were very kind to help me out. So let's have a quick look at this. So what I have on my bench here, two samples of terracotta tile. This one over here, the darker one, is a what's called a machine-made terracotta tile. And the machine-made terracotta tile would usually be spotted because it's really flat and it's very square. This is, though, please note, this is a small sample, so it's a cut of a terracotta tile. You can see on the back it's really very much machine-like on the back. And that is square and smooth and usually a very even color. Over this side, what we have is a more uneven shape. You can see the edges there look a little bit rough, although there's a bevel on the edge, and the back of the tile has got some indication of, you see, it's not the same as this one. So this tile here is made by hand, where this one over here is made by machine. The process of making the machine-made tile means a machine has mixed the clay, and then it's pressed by a machine, and that's why it's very predictable and very square and very consistent. Whereas with the clay tile made by hand, the terracotta tile made by hand, is many times it is more manually mixing the clay and then manually making the tile, which gives you this slightly more imperfect tile. You will also notice, if you look really closely, I hope my video can see that, I would try and zoom you in a little bit more if my focus stays in place. Is that good? So what you'll notice is there's a lighter color on the very edge of this tile, where the rest is a orangey color in the middle, and I can show that to you in a moment when I will apply some sealer to this tile. Now this is the way the tile has been fired. So when the tile is baked in the oven, some areas of the clay might have been mixed a little different consistency, where this clay here is a different consistency, and that's the reason why you see that color difference. It can also happen in the kiln, where it's stacked, that the heat is higher on this section here, and that's why it bakes through the tile. You see a little bit more of an imperfection here. It's also very much to do with the way the clay is mixed to create that. And many times people look at these tiles and they see the darker ring in the middle and the lighter ring at the end, or otherwise it's the opposite, where the darker ring on the outside and the lighter ring in the middle. This can happen, and this is the terracotta, the tile that's made by hand. That is certainly something to consider. So what I would like to do is, let's quickly go over here, and I'm going to talk to you about the cleaning products. So let's start with how to clean a terracotta tile first. What I would have here is, I've got my Tilemaster number 3 cleaner. This product is used to clean the terracotta tiles. So if a tile is not that dirty, we're just going to give it a very thorough, good deep clean. What we'll do is we will be using this product to clean the tile. So we have that, and removing the soils from that tile, and then getting the tile clean and dry to then proceed to seal the tile. Now if I go back to my collection of product here, the next thing we're going to talk about is the way in which we can seal the tiles. We have basically 3 versions of sealer that I would show you. Let's go to the traditional type of sealer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and show you this product here. So what we have here is our matte wax dressing. So what we would do is we would clean the tile, let it dry, and then follow the process where we then finish off by applying a matte wax dressing over the tile. We can have a sheen as well, which is a semi-sheen to the tile, which is a slightly different product, not a matte wax. Although matte wax dressing at the moment is very popular, though it's matte, there's still a bit of a sheen to the tile. And then what we do is apply this, and it protects, create a layer of protection over the top of this terracotta tile. If you run your hand over this handmade terracotta, you'll feel it's a little rough, so it's good to apply something that sits at the surface and protect the tile. Though even as much we want to clean this and strip this and seal this, you will still see the color difference, and many times that is the problem. The other time when a white mark on a terracotta tile is present, as mentioned earlier in the video, is because that tile has not been cleaned and stripped properly. So when you get somebody to clean your tiles, it needs to be stripped and sealed. Before it's sealed, it needs to be totally removed. In some cases, you need multiple cleans of that. That's our wax, and I'm going to hop back here. Let's quickly talk about the other two types of sealers. First of all, we have over here your normal color enhancing impregnator. This means that we'll seal the tile by penetrating sealer that goes into the tile and seal it from within. When you spill something on it, you'll see beads up on the surface of the tile. But the look and the feel of the tile don't change at all. So the tile looks still exactly the same. The next one is our color enhancing impregnator. At times this can be quite a popular product, and it works quite well, especially on your machine made terracottas where the surface is nice and smooth. Let me go over here and I'll show you. So what I have here is I'm going to switch you over to this one, and what I have here is my color enhancing impregnator sealer, and that's going to enhance the color of this tile. And in many cases the color enhancer can help me to reduce or hide more of these imperfections. Let me show you what would happen if I open this bottle up. And I'm just going to get a little bit out of it. Place this over here. And then what I'll do is I would just apply a little bit of sealer to this tile. So let's start with my machine made tile. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a feel for this. So by applying color enhancer, what I would find is that it would bring out the color of the tile a little bit more. So that will give me that effect there. And it would dry, and then one side will be a little darker than the other side. Now if we do the same on the handmade tile, notice that we will initially hide that imperfection. Tracy, your question was the lighter mark on the terracotta tile. So what I have here is my terracotta tile has now got, remember earlier had that little lighter edge, and we can still somewhat see there's a lighter edge, but by applying a few coats of this color enhancing impregnator, we can hide a little bit more of those imperfections. Although when this tile dry, you will still see that edge of the tile being a little bit of a different color. The main message I want to bring to you is the idea that a terracotta tile is very unique, and it comes with so much character that it's impossible not to have certain imperfections on a floor. If we have imperfections on a floor, if we have a terracotta tile, then I would definitely say, Tracy, the important bit is to accept that when we work with terracotta tiles, that certain things will not be perfect. You will probably have less imperfections on a machine-made terracotta tile than you will have on a handmade terracotta tile, but it's best to accept with a terracotta tile you will have areas of imperfections. It's the way in which the tile is made, it's the way in which the clay is mixed, it's the content of the clay. Sometimes there's imperfections in the clay. No matter how much you clean, that would be. In handmade tiles cases, you will many times see, if they are made in an open yard, that there's even animal footprints in the tiles, where the animals overnight ran over these tiles. And I've been to homes where people actually treasure that little piece of tile with a footprint often, which is really, really nice. People treasure that. And if you are looking to have a perfect floor, then probably a terracotta tile is not totally for you. So I hope that helps. Tracy, what do you think? Any questions?
I think that you have covered everything. Apart from, are there any specific cleaning techniques
cleaning techniques for tiles. If it comes to getting a terracotta tile as clean as possible, I would definitely recommend you look at the Tile Master range. Even if you are doing this at home,
I was going to say, can they do this?
they can do this, and I guess they can go to Ultimate Floor Care's website and get some product
So
there.
I'll tag that.
You can
down
tag
below.
that, so if somebody wants to clean their own floor, they can use the Tile Master range. So you can use a stripper to remove old sealer. There's a water-based stripper, so it's a bit more kind. There are solvent-based strippers as well for something that's severely hard to get clean. You have the water-based stripper to remove the old seals. Then you've got the number 3 cleaner that I mentioned earlier, and then you can choose between I want a natural looking tile, which means that when I seal it, it looks exactly like it did before.
Yeah.
That means that we are going to look at something like this, solvent-based impregnated sealer, so it doesn't change the look of the tile, or we go like I've just done the color answer, but it leaves a little rough surface, or otherwise I will go with a water-based, the matte wax dressing, and that would give us clean. But it's always better to spend a little bit more time than you think is needed on the cleaning and stripping of the tile, and let it dry really well before you apply the sealers.
Okay, perfect.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, that has helped. So if you need anything else, if you can think of something that we haven't covered, please do contact us. You can even drop a comment, I'll pick it up. I hope that's helped you today. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Bye now.